Good evening, Mercs. Welcome to another episode of Team Fortress Lessons. I'm Atomsk. Today we're actually doing a 6v6 demo file. This was a match I saw casted a while ago, and everyone was just amazed at how well Lanksy performed at CP Granary against the Space Whales, I think. He was playing Pocket Soldier. As some of you may know, I play Pocket Soldier in ESCA IM and UGC Platinum. Let's pull up the ESCA page and look at the stats of that match for a second. Go to League, Divisions, and Standings. Going heavy. Their Granary match against the Space Whales. Yeah, if you look right here, Lanksy not only got 32 frags and only 16 deaths, winning the All of You Are Dead award, but he also put out almost 11,000 damage. Almost 4,000 more than either team's demo man. I know some of you guys might not play 6v6, but that's huge. That is a big deal. And the damage to me is more impressive than the frags. Basically, I want to pick this game apart and figure out what he did. I want to be Lanksy in that game. That's incredible. This is the demo that I've been talking about. I've basically watched this like 5 times now. I've made this episode twice and just threw them out because I was so upset at myself. This was supposed to be the first episode of Team Fortress Lessons. It's almost 3 a.m. I'm going to get into the game now. Let's fucking do it. In fact, I'm going to speed through the rollout because this shit doesn't matter. Alright. Both soldiers bombing together onto their garage. Not a big deal, but I'm a huge fan of teamwork plays at mid-fights. You see how Lanksy sees his roamer jump right, so he jumps right to reinforce. Picks the medic, puts out some decent damage on this soldier. Alright, terrific. That looks like a successful mid-fight to me. Except I apparently can't. There we go. And spectator HUD. Dem forward spawns. If I recall, this is a fail push. They all gear up to go right together, and then they completely split up. And then they drag these guys in last. Sort of disorganized, and I think Space Whales crushes it. Yeah. So let's speed this up. He does not get the forward spawn, so he's going to spawn back. So they've got 50% disadvantage. And they know that Space Whales is going to push in here with Uber. So they're just building. Alright. Lanksy sees... I'm going to slow this down a little bit. Lanksy sees the enemy pocket. Spams him out. Him and his demo man work together to put it damage onto that... This isn't the clip I'm thinking of, is it? Uh-oh. I'm not going to crash, am I? Don't crash. Don't crash, TF2. You don't have to do it. Oh, I just apparently didn't click right. So yeah, they get the pop out, and Lanksy goes back to the medic. Knows he has Uber. Watch this. It's about to run out. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Boom. They destroy the entire combo. A wonderfully kited Uber. Then he gets to clean up the scout for extras. Kiting Ubers. It's an important skill. Get up on crates. Whatever you can do. I don't know. I'm not going to go into right now all the ways you can kite an Uber. That's not what this is about. That particular instance, they're coming through garage. They have Uber advantage. Spam them the fuck out. And then get away. They have so much distance to play with. That's why it's so hard to push that mid. You really need to... Man, this is really lagging, huh? I'm going to close some stuff. Let's get all this shit closed. Closing all my other tabs on the browser. Get this out of here. You're gone. Oh, whoops. Shit. Shit, I just closed my camera program. Alright, we'll just load this up. Pay no attention to that. No, you go away. This is such a terrific video. This is terrific. This is going perfectly well. Alright, get this off the screen. Perfect. We're back to looking at me. Isn't this the best video ever, guys? Alright. So, the other thing I wanted to point out was that he retreated from the Uber. First of all, he did not get killed by the Uber. He retreated from the Uber while at the same time maintaining distance from his medic. And I mean, by distance, I mean the length of the medigun. And he had to come back a little bit for the medic. He was mindful of that. And then he trusted his medic to pop Uber on him and save him and his demo man. And their Uber was just popped so much later that they were able to just kill everybody. It's a perfect plan that has come together. That's the beauty of 6v6, you Highlander players. You learn a lot about nuances. Where Highlander is like this big picture thing, 6v6 is, it gets into the minutia, gets into the nuances of the strategy, and it's terrific. I highly endorse playing both formats, by the way. That is my position. I don't think 6v6 or Highlander is better than the other. I think they're two sides of the same coin, and they teach the same concepts, but some of the concepts are taught better in one format and some in the other. So let's get back in this game and see Lanksy. So now they have a huge Uber advantage. Looks like they're going to push upper. And now Uber is ready, so let's watch them push. They can pop really early because they know that... Here, you know what? I'm going to let you watch this, and then we're going to talk about it. Okay, great. Terrific. What happened there was they knew they had Uber. They knew they had 40% up on their opponents. So there was two things that they could do. They could pop immediately and not risk losing anyone to like a sticky trap. And they didn't have to worry about the enemy Uber being popped later than them. And then, you know, having what just happened to them at the mid fight, or at mid, you know, happened in reverse. The flip side of that coin is they have to kill the medic. It's their first priority. Because if that medic gets Uber while they're busy trying to kill the medic's teammates, then that's a bad situation. So, as you can see, Lanksy jumped and immediately targeted the medic first thing. And then once that was done, they basically just played with heals and won the last. Second mid-fight. Let's get there. Bombing out of choke again onto their garage. Yeah, I would call that a fail mid. They I feel like he had some hesitation. Lansky bombed garage and literally found nobody there. His roamer jumped into their garage. I don't know why. I don't think he was going to find anything. And Lansky jumped to their choke. But by that point, they had already moved down their right side. And I would say the proper move would have been to meet up with his medic or simply jump onto their crates first thing. So they need to burn enough time to cover that Uber advantage, like the difference between the two teams' Uber. And instead, they actually just get the pop out, and now they have 100% advantage and 2 picks. So there should really be no problem pushing back into second here. Yep. Yeah, they needed to get a lot more done with that Uber, though. But you live, you learn. You gotta, can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. And sometimes you gotta just push out a last to see if you can do it. It's always risky to push out of your last. Both soldiers bomb their choke. And then Lansky jumps back almost all the way to garage. And helps clean up a kill on a soldier. I think Lansky needed to commit to either taking their crates or bombing their choke. He sort of did neither at first, and then decided what he wanted to do. Not the way you want to do it. But his team manages to take mid anyway. Let's speed this up. Oh yeah. So this is a thing of beauty right here. Lansky continuously shows at the door, just slightly applying pressure. Watch what happens here. Okay, let's show again. Put out some spam. Alright, now back up. Oh, this is not the one I'm thinking of. He gets in too deep here. But this is a terrific example of what you do in an Uber v Uber situation. Both teams pop their Uber. Go find somebody else. You're not gonna be able to kill them. They're Ubered, and they're not gonna be able to kill you. Go find their teammates. So they just sort of trade Ubers, but they have the right idea, and then they get a pick. Not an insubstantial pick either. They picked YC50, so. If you saw there, all 5 of the red team was there. So, they just backed away. They backed away and moved everybody to the right side. And now, look at how the enemy team is spreading out. And they can start focusing them one by one. They're keeping the space whales on their feet is what's going on, and they're stumbling a little bit because of it. They're bleeding people into heavy weapons by shifting positions, and Wales isn't responding properly. I'd say Lansky overextended a little bit there, misread his advantage, but I think they're going to take this regardless. Yeah, they bring it up to 2-1. Let's speed this up and get on the rollouts again. Boom, they're both soldiers in garage again. And I don't know if he saw the demo man, but not sure how I feel about that. Demo man for pocket is a great pick. It's a good trade. I'm trying to think. Did he do something wrong, or did that mid just not go in their favor because the team performed less, substantially? Kind of leaning toward that. Yeah, mid fights are just chaos sometimes, and just sort of roll with what happens. So, at least they got the medic, so it's going to be even Ubers pretty much. Alright. Probably not going to see much until the Ubers are ready, so I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Alright. I think the correct choice for Lanksy at this point would have been to... Okay, first of all, let's review what happened. Wales overextended onto his point, and he chose to engage. I'm going to guess that he called, I'm killing these guys. Don't drop me. Like, basically just some sort of call that said, pop Uber on me if I get low. He managed to pick the pocket, and then the medic got Uber, but I guess he split to the garage side, and the demo man was exposed, and Lanksy jumped the demo man and killed him. And then he was at mid with 11 health. It's now a 4v6, and 4 combat classes are with his medic. He should probably be able to trust that his team can clean up 2 scouts and a soldier and just start capping mid. That's my personal read on the scenario here, but he chooses to go back and help his team out. And it doesn't turn out for him, not because he shouldn't have gone back, but because his team doesn't manage to clean up. And there's really no reason for that. Like, I don't know how it happens, because I'm just going to stay on the Lanksy cam. But situationally, I would say 9 times out of 10, your team is going to win, so why not start capping? Yeah, I remember what happens, too. So, he goes for this small kit, and he jumps back to the point. And here comes a bit of miscommunication. Like, the scouts and Boomer clean up his team, and it's only him and his soldier left. He doesn't know where his other soldier is, so he just walks in. They hear the door, and they come clean him up. And then the other soldier walks through Z and gets cleaned up. Regardless what happened with his team dropping the medic and getting themselves all killed, a bit of coordination there could have saved them the round. That's the power of calling your positions to your team. Double bomb out of garage. This time he takes the crates, and it looks like they're going to do pretty well this mid. They've still got their medic up, so they basically just need to play with heals here. He doesn't want to engage this demo man. His team has sort of improperly run away from this fight. That's really odd. How did they not know that they won this? That's really weird. Well, let's speed this up, because it's going to be a fight on second. Okay. What happens right here is that he comes through flank side with his medic, with his team, and he sees across the way. It's a very subtle thing. He sees them not only holding the yard on that side, but also they're retreating into him. And so he chooses to push into this. It's a subtle decision, but it's very significant, because watch what happens. He knows that their med died at mid, and theirs didn't. So they're completely out of position. Splits the team in half, gets 2 picks with the Uber, and then cleans up the rest of the team to bring the score up to 3-2 in the half. I'm just gonna speed through this because it's halftime, but here we go. Yeah, so you might be thinking to yourself, what would have happened if, they had not just retreated into that Uber? Because what should have happened was that the scout on the flank side called that, they're pushing right, and they should have been able to retreat faster or sooner. But instead, they pushed the scout out, and he chose to flee because he probably had 12 health or something. And so the Space Whales didn't know that Lanksy was pushing Z basically until they saw him on Z. And so, what would have happened if they had stayed in yard? Well, Lanksy would have been on the other side of the door with his demo man on the point, and they would have been locked out of it. And then they would have just been able to push last with the team on the wrong side of second, pushing into them. And they still wouldn't have had Uber, so even if they had chose to go a different route or push into the door, it would have been Uber v no Uber. So it was a very, very terrible situation for the Space Whales to be in, because heavy weapons, the team heavy weapons was able to move very quickly and also make their decisions very quickly and read the field. Alright, they're choosing to go choke again this time, and they're double bombing garage again. And then Lanksy chooses to jump up into their garage, and the medic... That's really unlucky that the medic was able to surf perfectly out that little door, and yeah. So they push back into mid. I don't know exactly what's happening. I'm going to speed it up. Yeah, it was Uber v Uber, but the flank managed to pick up a kill there, and then Lanksy was managed to split the pocket up from the demo and the medic, so that the medic basically only saved the demo man with his Uber. Now they're going to bomb onto them. Lanksy did a wonderful job there, bombing one escape route and then the other, making sure that yard was completely clear before this team moved up to mid. And now, since they popped first, they've got a big Uber advantage on top of all the kills that they got, which meant that Mezor wasn't able to build as efficiently. So they know that they have a slight advantage, so they're trying to lengthen it by having the scout build. You didn't see Lanksy look, but you did. You heard the scout hurting himself and building very aggressively. I don't know why Lanksy chose to push choke by himself. He could have very, very, very easily just gotten killed for no reason, and I don't agree with that play. So now they're showing on garage side again. I think this is the clip I was looking for. Unfortunately, they didn't push as soon as they got Uber, so they're not really going to be able to leverage that advantage they were trying to get. And then also, their med got picked after the Uber, so that's not terrific. Not by any sense. So both teams basically wiped, except for, you know, a small combo. So the Space Whales are going to have a big advantage here. So let's speed this up and see how Heavy Weapons deals with it. And they actually deal with it by running a Heavy Weapons guy and putting him on the crates. It's going to be terrible trying to push this for the Space Whales. So they pop Uber, and they focus the Heavy, and that's the only kill that they get. So, Heavy Weapons is just going to push right back in with Uber. They trade Soldier and a Scout for both soldiers, and unfortunately Space Whale's back cap. So neither team was able to push mid effectively with an Uber advantage there, which I think is kind of humorous. And then they get back capped again, so it's now 3-3. Not a very significant mid-fight. Basically, Space Whales lost their demo man early, and then so they lost mid. And they tried to push into it after they had already retreated, and that's why they got flanked there. And they lost a couple people. That, by the way, is a very good maneuver when both teams have lost people, lead with a scout into very wide open territory. It's very scary having a 185 scout bear down on you across like an open expanse where you can't really splash them or anything. Especially one like this where they have like terrain to dance on. Alright, so Uber v Uber. Here comes the rotation. Grabs the ammo first. I'm going to look stupid, or I'm going to risk looking stupid here. Because I think it's the moment that I was remembering. So what's going to happen here is Lanksy is going to apply gentle pressure on Garage. Very gentle. He's going to draw the combo over to him, though, by applying this pressure. He's going to show repeatedly by opening the door. And watch what happens. We'll analyze afterward, actually. Lets the scout see him. They're hiding here. They're basically waiting here because what they want is they want someone to peek, and whoever peeks they're gonna murder because they're all here. They're just waiting. And so it's been a little while. They're going to apply a little more pressure. Any second now, Lansky's going to apply some more pressure on the door. Here we go. Come on. Peek a little harder. Keep getting splash damage. There it is. Perfect. Now, look at that. He gets the pop out by consistently putting damage on the enemy pocket. And he's close enough to the door that he can back out. Watch this. Look how long he kited that Uber for. The pocket just used his last rocket to rocket jump on them, and now he's got his shotgun on. He's desperately trying to get the pop out. But it's too late. Their Uber is over. Oh, So many picks went down while Lanksy was kiting that beautifully. They're 2 up. They're just going to push last right now while the scout caps. Okay. Why am I so in love with that play? First of all, they have control of that door. They choose when it opens and closes. By showing aggressively on that door, but not staying too far away from it, the way it's constructed, it's like a long tunnel, and if they're in the middle of the tunnel, they risk being forced like really early and like juggled and just splashed against the roof. So they have to be on the far end of it. But they also don't want to let the heavy weapons get up into the stairs and come over them. So what Lanksy did was he went in and out, in and out, in and out, in, deeper, deeper, out, deeper, put out more and more damage every time he sees somebody. Lots of damage, and then back out. And then have his team spam on top of that. Suddenly they had to pop Uber or risk dropping their pocket. And the beautiful thing about that was they're choosing to engage on a slight depression in the ground. Like right after that door, there's a slight ramp. And then so the ground that heavy weapons is on is slightly higher than the ground that Spaceballs are on. So the enemy team is going to have a hard time. The enemy soldiers are going to have a hard time splashing in. And then as Lanksy backs out, the door closes, and the pocket can't even do damage on him, like until he comes out. He was literally at like 20% Uber left when he had engaged Lanksy. It was just the perfect kite. They turned Lanksy by himself with his medic healing him. Turned a 100% Uber advantage situation into a 100% against 20% Uber situation. It's kind of awesome. Just through using his brain and positioning himself well. Those are shots anybody can make. It's not about that. It's about knowing the game, knowing the flow, using your opponent. And I don't know. I just think that that's awesome. Alright, one more garage rollout for good measure. Doesn't really see any targets. Yeah. I would say that was a bad focus mid-fight. He sort of shot at everybody a little bit, and he only killed one person at the end there. I'm not really sure that's Lansky's fault, though. Like, the pocket is really... I don't know, unless he's going to be, like, roaming seriously in the mid-fight. It's not really for him to call targets that need to die. So it looks like they're going to try and hold last here with the... Oh, I remember this one. Body shot. Uber gone. Lanksy knows there was a soldier up here. And there he is. Yeah, I remember what happens here. They have big advantage, but no, that was another time. Never mind. I'll just shut up now. Alright, so KBK has got an Uber, but they've dropped their roamer and a scout. And they're heavy. And a scout gets the pop out. Yeah. Not the greatest rocket jump. And now suddenly they're holding yard instead of second, but they're 65% down again. Yeah, this is really why I prefer Scouts building. Okay. Ever since they allowed the Boston Basher into the game, it's really been during these lulls where both teams are building Ubers, or even if one team... Excuse me. I have some water. Or if even one team needs to build Uber, it's really advantageous for it to be a scout that's building Uber, because it doesn't cost them any ammo. Soldiers run out of ammo all the time building Uber. Especially because now that most roamers are wearing gunboats, they can't build Uber. So it's all on the pocket. And it takes probably like 12 to 15 rockets to get an Uber from 0 to 100. That doesn't leave you a lot to fight with. And as you saw, Lanksy had to put himself out of position in order to grab that ammo kit. He's about to grab another one. It's going to cost them the round. Oh, they just pushed the flank while he happened to be grabbing ammo, and now he's got to spend all this health retreating. Oh, and the Uber pushes into them, and gets the medic picked. And YZ50, being the boss that he is, manages to kill everybody except Lanksy with that overheal. I thought Mezora lived through that. No, I guess both medics dropped or died, so it's going to be pretty even. KBK's got about 20% up on him, but I wonder if he knows that. So they're going to try and take Yard again. I think that could have easily been a situation where they had started to back up earlier. And together, and not have dropped their med if Lanksy hadn't been walking around getting ammo. They had to pause during this match, and the pause ends at 177, and then they pause again until 212. So I'm gonna start skipping my way through this. I sincerely hope this doesn't crash it. Okay, 190,000. Okay, it should be ready now. Okay, perfect. There we go. Unfortunately, my my HUD's gonna be kind of broken for a while. You'll see it still says that that one guy's not in the game. And for some reason I can't see Uber advantage. What's happening there is I have a button bound to HUD _ reload scheme, but it's not working. It just refreshes it. It doesn't fix it. And I can't turn off the advanced spectator HUD. It looks like they popped Uber. Yeah. The doors are broken. So they got the pop out, and they re-push into them. And they do it just in the nick of time. Look how close that point is to being captured. One of the other things I love about Lansky's play is that he's able to go Shark for cleanup kills after the Uber, and trust that his medic isn't going to just die because of that. Like, whoever's hurt is going to be hanging around the medic after the Uber, waiting for heals. So since the Uber just ended, he's going to have 300, so he can just push out into it. It looks like my HUD is back together now. Oh yeah, another instance of, you know, going for ammo kits, just drawing you out of position. Not a strong hold on the doors whatsoever. And so now they have to drop back, even though it's Uber v Uber, because it's 4v6, and they don't want to pop in this conditions. They want to pop after people spawn. Unfortunately, they drop another scout. Yeah, unfortunately they lose that round. And I would attribute it almost entirely to that he had to go grab ammo. And he was unable to spam those doors and get the pop out early. So it's now 4-4. This is going to be the last mid-fight because 6v6 is played to 5. And they're both going to garage. And they pick the roamer very early. Lanksy backs up, looking for health. Wow. He put out a lot of damage. Lanksy put out a lot of damage on that mid. And you saw that twice in a row. He put a rocket on a scout, and one of his scouts cleaned him up as he flew in the air. Rocket on a scout, clean up. Jump choke, put a rocket on the soldier, scout cleaned it up. Scout ran through choke, picked the medic. Only one problem. One problem. He went to go chase the medic too. Left his medic alone on mid. With nobody else. Couldn't build Uber, couldn't defend himself. I guarantee in Mumble there was a call from KBK like, guys, somebody needs to stay with me. I almost have Uber and I'm the only one capping. It happens. So they have 100% advantage. They really need to be moving forward a bit more aggressively. And then this is the most terrible pop ever. Blaze gets out of a pop from KBK where he wasn't even going to be able to get a kill on him. I mean, sure, his health was low, but I mean, he wasn't going to land that equalizer hit. It looks so they're gonna want to push this. Oh, but those two respawns come in right now. I'm not sure this is gonna end right here. Yeah, this is not the push that ends it. They get Uber in time and then get cleaned up a bit. But they managed to get the pop out, and KBK somehow got out alive. So now they've got big advantage. And Tony Swan is just going to spawn heavy. Which means that for this last push, Lanksy basically isn't pocket. The heavy is. And watch what that means. Well, I don't want the enemy team to be able to just stand behind cover so the heavy can't shoot him. So I'm going to make them come to the point. And then the heavy kills everything. GG. And that just goes to show... I'm actually going to quit TF2 here to free up some of the stress on my hardware. That just goes to show you sometimes the best thing you can do as a soldier is just die. Just go on to the point and die. Generally, that only applies to last pushes. But anyway. So... I wrote down some stuff. I'm going to look on my other monitor. I don't think I missed anything that I wanted to talk about. The conclusion I'm able to draw is that Lanksy was able to put out so damage by being very, very smart. Isn't that beautiful? You can play an Invite. You'll notice Lanksy didn't get a single air shot. He didn't TLR anybody. He just made really good decisions. He put out 11,000 damage in one match. I love this game. It's not Counter-Strike. You're not just some DM bot. Like, God, use your brain. Learn the game. And you'll go places. Isn't that terrific? I guess I'm just going to answer some questions from my last video. Your guys' comments. Oh, let's see. Somebody called me the Day 9 of TF2. I'm honored because Day 9 is my hero. By the way, how good do you need to be before sending in replays? I don't care what skill you are. In the header of your email, just that has attached to it a demo file, POV or Source TV, I don't care. Put the class you play and the division you play in. So it'll just give me some perspective. Yeah. Learned a good amount from this video. These are the comments from the medic gameplay video from Foundry. I like this one a lot. I am currently practicing in 6v6 as a scout, but I keep making some mistakes or my aim is too bad. Will you make a scout lessons video in the future? Of course I will. It won't be focused around... Ooh, my lamps just flickered. It won't be focused around improving your DM because I have terrible scout DM. But it will be centered around scout decision making in the format that whatever demos I'm looking at is played in. I might have an episode sometime on improving DM in general, like ways to practice, but there's not going to be like a demo file where I watch Clockwork and I go like, oh, this is how he aims, and we watch the demo and he just clicks on people and they die. Like, that won't be helpful to anybody. Frames per second, 'twas a bit choppy. Oh man, that blows. Good luck replacing your med. That was something else. Yeah, I know that these videos are choppy. I don't have a great processor, or a great computer in general for doing this sort of stuff. I mean, it's more than sufficient for playing TF2, but I'm trying to make do with what I can. I will make my computer better when I can. That's all I can say. Sorry. I hope you guys keep watching anyway. Somebody said, threatened, in fact, to unsubscribe to me if I was, quote, one of those liberal Occupy Wall Street fags. Romney 2012. I don't have a major political leaning. I'm sort of moderate. And also, don't use that kind of language. It's hurtful. Hurt the gay community. Wait, let me point that at. Wow, I can't even make this shape to save my life. That's almost a heart. Wow, I'm pathetic. And then a comment from my brother saying to stop fucking with his area over there behind me. Because I put those posters up for you guys so you wouldn't just have a blank wall. And my friend Cicero took his monitor. I think somebody in another video asked me what microphone I'm using, and I